Hey, what's up, and welcome to live.besttechy.net, the place we talk tech, answer your tech questions, of course, everything technology related. The topic is one of many discussions, and that is of iPhone killers. You've heard the term, I'm sure, and to date, so far, there has really been not a single iPhone killer. A mobile device which has brought the iPhone to its knees, so to speak, back from being outer space, back down to Earth type of thing. And I think the problem is, and I think Google realizes this with their release of the Nexus One, and their whole scheme of how they're pushing Android. And this is my view on the subject. So what I think Google is actually doing is they're not really trying to compete on a one-to-one basis here. Think about it in the terms of PC versus Mac, that market. Think about it like that. You have Apple, who controls the hardware and the software in one area, okay? Then you have Microsoft over here, who controls the operating system, the platform that all these PCs, HP, Dell, Acer, you name it, run on, okay? Who has more market share? Microsoft. Who has, they have much more market share than any other company out there in terms of the operating system and how many people use their device, their software. So I think Google is trying to take a page out of Microsoft's book here, and what they're doing is they're pushing Android on as many phones as possible, and you're going to see that because the Android phones are going to be coming out the wazoo pretty soon. You have the Nexus One, which is it's the best Android phone to date. Yes, it has the best features, the best look, the best functionality so far, turning the latest Android. But soon you're going to have a new Motorola phone, not the Droid, but a newer one. You're going to have more HTC phones, and they're all going to be running Android, and they're all going to be on several carriers. And you're going to have unlocked versions of the phones as well, I would assume. So here's the deal. You're going to have all these phones, and they're going to be on so many different carriers, similar to the PC manufacturer. Think of a carrier as a PC manufacturer in this sense. Think of Google as kind of a Microsoft distributing their Android phone platform, their operating system, to all these manufacturers, and the phone carriers and the manufacturers themselves of the devices are considered like the market. So take that back. The manufacturers that are doing the phones, think of them as like the PC manufacturers. Think of Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. Think of those guys and Sprint as the company who's selling you the device, the retail outlet, that type of thing. And I think Google kind of wants to eliminate the carrier lockdown, which, as you can see with the Nexus One, they have an unlocked version. I think they're trying to get rid of that whole thing. But if you think about it, in the sense of all of this, if this is the approach Google is actually taking, they have a pretty good shot. You offer a ton of high-end phones. You offer some middle-end phones running Android. You offer some lower-end phones running Android. You have the opportunity to take a huge chunk of market share. Whereas the iPhone, I don't think Apple's releasing another one of these. They're going to stick with the iPhone. That's what they've been doing. They have the MacBook line, they have the MacBook Pro. Maybe they'll release a different iPhone. I don't think they will. They may down the road, but in the overall, it's still going to be iPhone running Apple's software on their hardware, going up against Google's Android on all different types of hardware. So in the end, who's going to win? I don't know. In terms of sheer numbers, Google is going to have more chances and more opportunities than Apple will. And the possibilities that it could end up like Microsoft versus Apple in that sense, Windows versus Mac, is very likely. In terms of having the right mix, the only thing I would worry about if I was Google is making sure these phones, they work correctly on the Android. That Android works correctly on every single phone to the fullest extent that everyone gets the best performance possible. Because Apple controls all that stuff. They can make sure that everyone's getting the right experience. They're more able to do so. It doesn't necessarily always happen, but they're more able to. Whereas Microsoft, you see it all the time. People bash them because they're not able to give everyone the same experience on every single device that their software runs on. So you see it all the time. When Microsoft did the Xbox, they did the hardware and the software, and look how well that came out. So could this affect Google? I don't know. You saw their support forums were being flooded with questions, and they were overwhelmed. They might need to start opening up some call centers. I'm serious about this. It's really hard to get in touch with someone at Google. Really, really difficult, aside from email or the forums. Anyway, curious to know what you think. Leave a comment. Let me know. This has been live.besttechie.net. Until next time, we'll see you. And remember, take care of your computers.